Hello, welcome to my channel, Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and Michael K. Vaughan has introduced some insanity to booktube. I am participating in the Read What You Own Platinum Challenge, where I'm not allowed to buy books until I read 100 books that I already own. There's another video with all the rules set up. But Michael K. Vaughan has introduced the possibility of a 500 book challenge. Now, the 100 book challenge for me is doable. I don't stand a high risk of failing because I will be done with this challenge by March, not by March, sometime in March is when I'm going to finish this. But a 500 book challenge is a complete madness. This year, I'm going to crack just about 200 books read. So if I were to accept this challenge, I'm looking at a 2 to 3 year period where I'm not allowed to buy any books. And that is a major inconvenience. I mean, this is not even inconvenient. This is, as I think he was saying, life-changing challenge, because it would totally change the way I purchase books. It would be a challenge that is a very high risk of failure, whereas the 100 book challenge doesn't carry that risk of failure, or at least not a high risk of failure. So what would it mean to not buy any books until I read 100 books? Absolute madness. But Michael K. Vaughan threw out that challenge. David Wiley is sort of responding that he could be interested in that challenge. And if we have 3, 4, or 5 people interested in a 500 book challenge, it kind of makes it much more intriguing to know that there are going to be fellow sufferers in pain on booktube trying to do this outrageously insane task, a task that I think I will probably fail. And it will require some revisions to my rules that I have for the 100 book challenge. The biggest one is, and this is where I have run the highest risk of failure, is that my wife and I are planning trips abroad. We want to visit Great Britain, probably 2023, maybe pushed out to 2024. But I would still be within that challenge of the 500 books. I would not be done by then. And one of the places I wanted to visit was Hay on the Wire, which is a lovely little town that has many, many used bookstores. And if I were to go to England and go to Hay on the Wire and not purchase any books, I would be, people would be legally able to shoot me. Yeah, I'd just be so mad and so deranged that anyone on booktube could say, yeah, Greg went to Hay on the Wire, didn't buy any books. Let's kill him. And they'd be at least morally justified, maybe not legally justified, but morally justified in killing me for going to a place like that and not buying books. So what am I supposed to do? Put off my travels? My wife may have something to say against that. So what I'm throwing out is, and this is a possibility, an equivalent of a festival night, where if you're on travel in a place like Hay on the Wire, you just don't talk about what you do on Hay on the Wire. It's like, what stays in Hay on the Wire, what goes on in Hay on the Wire stays in the Hay on the Wire. So I could sort of sneak those purchases in under a festival night. For New York City, another place I plan to visit, they've got the Strand. It is against all moral code to visit New York City and not go into the Strand. It just cannot be done. So maybe that would have to be a festival night too. But if you're planning all these festival nights, are you really just not succeeding at a 500 book challenge? That's where I am. I don't want to deny myself the joy of travel and not be able to purchase books and go into bookstores. So that's a big problem, and I'm not quite sure how to settle that. Maybe people watching this video, there's some commentary to see what they think festival nights are acceptable. Now, of course, you're not going to have a festival night saying, I'm going to the local Barnes & Noble, it's festival night. No, that's cheating. It's when you're on travel, you're overnight. Got to be a little bit of leeway. Another piece of leeway I want to throw out as a possibility is buying books from fellow booktubers. Just recently, Juan Valdez from Plagued by Visions put out a collection of short stories. And I purchased that book before I started this challenge, so that's not a problem. But if he were to publish a novel or someone else were to publish a book, I don't want to be restrained from buying books that my internet pals have published. I think they deserve, or I would feel obligated, not obligated, but I feel like I should be buying their books because they're my pals and they wrote in a book and I should get it. So I think those should be exceptions. My Audible subscription would absolutely have to stay. Whether I would change the rules and just not count audiobooks, maybe. That's open for negotiation, some thought. Lots of things to consider. So I'm going to probably wrap it up here. So far, Michael K. Vaughan, David Wiley, and myself are thinking about this total insanity. What are other comments? I'd like to hear what other people think about this insanity. I think it's just too extreme. But then again, maybe because it is so extreme, it's something at least worth considering. Thank you for watching, and keep on reading.